Hi everybody, I'm Natalie with Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I'm here with Misty.
Hi guys.
It's double take day.
Absolutely it is. We have two great projects for you using the Ribbon Star.
That's right.
And I think I'm gonna go first.
Awesome, I can't wait.
All right, so it looks like I am up first.
Yes.
So this is my quilt.
This is so great. I love it.
Thank you. I really love it as well, and I think you guys are going to be really surprised when you see how simple it is because you get
I think
all of
I'm
this
going to
with
be
one
surprised
block.
too because I did a Ribbon Star and I don't think mine came together in quite the same way.
Probably not. So that's half the fun, right? We get to
2 takes, 1 block.
That's right. So let me show you how to make this. And to make this quilt, you are going to need 1 package of 10-inch squares, and I use this Liberty Artisans Batik from Robert Kaufman. You are also going to need 4 yards of your background fabric, and then 1 1/4 yards of accent fabric. I opted to use accent fabric. If you don't want to, there is enough left over in your layer cake.
Okay.
I just wanted it to all have the same print.
Same fabric.
So keep
Got
that
it.
in mind. You kind of have a choice there.
Yeah, you could do it scrappy or not.
Exactly. And then for your border, you need 1 1/3 yards, and for your backing, you need 7 1/2 yards with vertical seams or 2 1/2 yards of a 108. So let me show you how to make it. So the entire quilt is made of this block right here, and it's all just in the layout.
It's very cool.
Thank you. And so let me show you how to do that. We are gonna cut all of our 10-inch squares the exact same way. So I'm just gonna grab a couple here and stack them up.
I love that.
Make
Anything
sure
to be more efficient, right?
That's exactly right. And so up first, I just wanna make sure they're straight.
Yes, that matters.
It does matter. All right, so we're gonna cut a 2 1/2 inch strip. And then I'm gonna subcut that into 6 1/2. Sorry. 6 1/2 and 2 1/2. And I'm just gonna keep these different sizes in piles. Because
Okay.
I pretty much mix them up.
Nice.
But you can
Mix and match the whole thing, huh?
Yeah. Well, so I actually kept the same prints within the block just because it
Okay.
worked for my brain. But
Yeah.
But I don't think it would matter if you mixed them up because once you set them together, they're all scrappy anyway. So we're gonna do the same thing on this second strip. So 6 1/2 and 2 1/2. There we go. A little bit of waste, and then we need to cut 1 more 2 1/2 inch strip, and we are going to subcut this into 4 1/2 inch rectangles,
Cool.
just like so. So then I'm just going to add those to the piles that I have over here, so I have some variety.
Okay.
And then let's talk a little bit about our background sizes as well. So you are going to need some 2 1/2 inch squares of your background, some 2 1/2 by 4 1/2 inch rectangles, and then also some 6 1/2 inch squares. And so
Perfect.
I have those cut and ready to go.
Okay.
And then now we can go ahead and start assembling the star portion of our block.
Nice.
And so to begin with, we are going to pair a background square with a print 2 1/2 inch square and just sew those together.
All right. I do love working with batiks.
I do too. It's like almost like they're pre-starched.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And so then I'll press that back. Just like so. And then we are going to attach our 4 1/2 inch rectangle to that one.
Okay. And is there a specific side I need to stitch on, or does it matter?
I don't, so technically it needs to be this side.
Okay.
If that's how I did it, but it'll all work out in the end as long as you turn your block the right way.
Right. Okay.
It won't really matter.
Yeah, just check in. I
Yep.
didn't want to.
It will matter once we add the next pieces for sure. There we go. Go ahead and press in between. There we we go. And so then now we are going to add our 4.5-inch print to this side here.
Okay.
So if you want to sew that down. And then we'll add our 6.5-inch strip to the other side. Do you want me to press again, or do you want to just add it?
Either way is fine
Yeah,
with me.
because we're just going to fold this back here.
Batiks finger press really
They do.
nicely.
And then we can add this 6.5-inch strip there on that side.
Awesome. I also love the satisfaction of these pieces being like perfectly pre-cut and going back together so well.
Yeah, when you take the time to go ahead and cut all of it ahead of time, then you can just sit and grab from your pile and it goes really quick.
Very satisfying.
It is. All right, now I will give this a press really quick. And then the last step for this little portion is to take 2 more of our 2.5-inch background squares, and we're going to set these on those opposite print corners, and we're just going to sew point to point.
Okay.
So we have the diagonal
I
seam
think
tape.
mine is so far very similar.
Perfect. She can just swing that around and do the other one. And when you're piecing many of these, you can chain piece one after the other with all these snowballs, and it makes it go really, really fast.
Yeah.
All right.
I do love to get those done.
Yes. So then we can trim off our excess here. There we go. Press these back. This one here. And you are going to make 2 of these for every single one of your blocks. And so I have 2 done. And then the next step is we are going to use our 6.5-inch squares. And I used accent fabric, and all you're cutting out of your accent fabric is 2.5-inch squares. And they get used on these 6.5-inch squares and on these. And so,
All right.
so we are going to now add to the tip of both of these a little snowball that goes this way.
Perfect.
So if you want to sew those,
I do.
and then it looks like I need to cut a few more of these little accent squares. I thought I had more ready. So I'll do that while you're stitching those down.
Sometimes those little fabrics just run away
They
from us.
do, they just disappear, but that's okay. So I'm just going to cut a 2.5-inch strip and subcut these into 2.5-inch squares. There we go.
They go on
Yep, and so then
2 corners.
on 2
Does
corners,
it matter which one?
Nope, as long as they're opposites, that's all that
All
matters.
right, cool. I love your take on these blocks. Sometimes it's just so out of my box that I'm like, how did you even come up with that?
Thank you.
I love it.
I really enjoy playing with all the designs. It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I feel the same way with yours though. I'm like, where did you get that idea?
Right?
It's so fun.
Just so different.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Perfect. And I'll trim these while she adds the other snowball.
One last corner here.
So I'll just trim off my excess of these little points. There we go. Go ahead and press these back.
Do you want me to go ahead and trim this
Sure,
for you?
that'd be great.
Okay. Figure we both know how to do that
Oh yeah,
part.
absolutely. And then I'll give this a press. And then just like your little star leg units, you're gonna have 2 of these as well. And so you just are gonna put these in opposite corners. And then our little quarter stars are gonna come together so it makes this diamond in the middle.
Awesome.
And then when you sew it together, it looks just like this. And the rest of this quilt's magic is all in the layout.
Yeah, I love that.
So let's take this back here so I can show you. So here is our block right here. And then this one, it's just right next to it. This one turns. And so you can see as you're laying it out, they're all just spun different ways. And it gives you this kind of like half.
So you kind of
half
have to
flower.
watch the layout
You do.
and go with the diagram
Absolutely.
and the pattern, right?
Definitely, you're gonna wanna pay attention to that, but it's all this block. And so let's count the blocks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. And
Nice
then
and square.
yeah, nice square.
Beautiful.
It measures 81 by 81. I did add this 5-inch outer border. And then
Nice.
I just used this nice
Oh, that's
navy on the
beautiful.
back, and then you
Yeah.
can really see that quilting pattern, which I think is super fun.
That's
And
a great pattern.
Yeah,
Is
this
it
one's called Athena. Yes. Yep.
Very cool.
Super pretty, and so that's it. Easy peasy.
It's so much simpler than I thought it was going to be. I love it.
Thank you. I really was excited with this one, and I cannot wait to see yours. So you're up next,
All
right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, well, this is my quilt. I'm calling it Jubilant Ribbon Star.
It's
and
so
really,
cute.
it's so similar to the first iteration of the Ribbon Star block. But what I did is I took this little square here and I flipped it.
I love that.
So it's pretty simple. I think it turned out really cute though.
It's adorable, and
gives
this fabric is so cute.
It's really cute. Okay, so to make my quilt, you're gonna need one package of 10-inch print squares, and I've used Star Spangled Beauty by Kimber Bell from Maywood Studios. You're gonna need some accent fabric. That's this navy, 2/3 of a yard. Background is 1 yard and 5/8. Your border, I did a 5-inch border. You'll need 1 yard for that, and your binding is 5/8 of a yard. And I just thought this little gingham diagonal plaid was so cute. I used the same fabric for my backing, this beautiful floral. And for your backing, you'll need 4 yards with horizontal seams, or if you have a 108, 2 yards will be plenty.
Perfect.
Way more than you need, because this is just it's a great little size. It's 62 square. So, you know, you could make it bigger if you wanted to, but I think it's just cute for a little picnic or lap quilt.
It is. I love it.
So fun. All right, well, let's get started. So this is our block that we're going to be making, and it's super similar to yours, but
Yeah.
also totally
Just a little different.
Okay, so we're going to take our print squares, and we're going to cut 2 different types of cuts. So you can stack them up. You'll divide and conquer as you go, and the numbers are all listed in the pattern for how many of each thing that you need. So from your first print square, we're going to cut 2.5 by 6.5. And I went ahead and did a 6.5 inch cut across. So
Makes
1, 2,
sense.
3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. And then we'll subcut these into 6.5, 2.5 by 6.5. Same thing. We're just turning it and cutting, subcutting. Sometimes those numbers get confused when I try to speak them out loud.
Happens to all of us.
And I would go ahead and divide these and just put my sizes in piles because, you know, you'll be able to grab from those. You can scrap it up if you want to, or keep them the same. All right, so we've got those, and then we're going to cut this into 2.5 inch squares. All right, now this one, we're going to do a 4.5 inch strip and subcut that into 2.5 inch by 4.5 inch strips.
Getting all your little pieces.
Yep, getting them all ready.
I just love this fabric. It is so cute.
It's very cute. All right, then you can cut another strip of 2.5 inch squares And this is where I got, you have this extra piece, right? So you could cut your 1.5-inch squares from this
For your little
for all of your
cornerstones.
cornerstones. But you can also get them out of a layer cake square. And so I used the plaid one and did all the same colors. So you can do that as well.
There's plenty to go either way, right?
Yep, plenty to go around because I didn't quite use all of my layer cake pieces. I've been doing that lately just because I want to play with color and design.
I've been doing the
and
same
sometimes I just don't use it super efficiently. I'm just
As long as you
doing
can get
fun
all
stuff.
the colors you want.
right. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put together, we're making all these little units, but because this is spun, we're gonna put this together and then snowball it first.
Okay.
So we will grab our little, we've got a plaid. Oh, and your background. You're gonna need some background. Almost forgot. You need
Yes.
2.5-inch squares, and then you need some 2.5 by 4.5-inch strips. So you'll get those all cut and set aside. And then we're gonna start, of course, same way we did with yours, just by sewing these two together.
Okay.
Make that cute little unit.
Yes.
And then if you're comfortable, we can just finger press
Yep,
that and add
absolutely.
our white side.
Does it matter which way it goes?
No, as long as we snowball the opposite corner, I think we're going to
Okay.
be just fine.
Perfect.
And sometimes I get them all the same, and sometimes I don't.
Yep.
And you can't tell once
and
the
we
quilt's put
just
together.
Don't die over it, right?
Nope. Sometimes, the seam direction matters, but not usually, and not in this case. Let me scoot this out of the way so I can do some pressing here. Alrighty, so then we're gonna go ahead and snowball this corner. And you can see I've mixed and matched a lot of my my 2.5-inch squares so that there's a lot of different fabric combinations here.
Yeah. Once you have all the cutting done, you can just kind of scrap it up
Yes.
as you like.
Yep. Well, it's scrappy, but also not scrappy.
Right, 'cause
So
you're
my
using the
6.5s are
same-
the same, my
Oops.
4.5s are the same, and then I've got my 2.5s that match on the corners and in this the diagonal that kind of makes it look like it's got a kind of like a triangle behind it. Do you want me to press it, or
That's all right. I'll just give that a little press there and
finger
add
press
it.
that corner? Okay.
Yep.
All right, now let's snowball those corners
Here we go.
because we love snowballing.
Of course.
It's one of my favorite ways to make a quilt a little bit more interesting.
Right? Well, and it's so funny because like this is so similar to like construction wise
really
to
is.
mine, and
Yeah.
then
But
the
they
quilt
look so
looks so
different.
different, and they're both so beautiful and fun. I
All
love
right.
that about quilting.
Yeah, me too. There you go.
All right.
Just do diagonal stitches.
Point to point.
That's right. Well, and I love how simple it is to create these star legs without a lot of effort. It's, adding that little snowball just makes it so easy.
It's so true. There we go.
Alrighty. We've got all 4 pieces ready to go.
We're ready ahead of time.
That's right. Yeah. Give that a little press. It's all ready.
There it is. So cute.
I love how, because you use the different sizes and then you put them in the same place, they just alternate and it creates this really beautiful woven look,
Yeah,
which
it's
I
so
think
pretty.
is fun about the ribbon star block. And there you go. So you put it together like a little 4-patch. Now these end up being 12.5 inches unfinished.
Okay.
So your sashing strips are all 1.5 by 12.5, and then all of your cornerstones are 1.5 square.
So cute.
And it just goes together in a 4x4, so there's 16 blocks total. And it's
Cute little
great.
outer border.
The
It's
outer
so
border
cute.
is 5 inches. And we've used, you see this beautiful backing. It's just so pretty.
It is.
It's very picnicky.
Really beautiful. Well, this turned out really fun, Nat. I love both of these
So
quilts.
great, yes. We have 2 fun ideas for the Ribbon Star.
Absolutely. So we hope you guys enjoyed this double take, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.